My name is Jim with Rupert's Woodworks, and first off I just want to thank everyone in the YouTube community, anyone that's ever liked, shared, or subscribed any of my videos. I truly appreciate it. I just recently hit 1,000 subscribers, so today I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I have had people ask me in the past about doing a shop tour, and I never thought I'd give a shop tour, but here I am. So I'm going to just go through some things where I started from and what has made my shop successful. It started a couple of years ago. In 2015 I started making little picnic tables for kids, and I was making them for birthday parties, and my wife said you should start selling those, and I said no, because then it would become a job and I'll end up hating it. But I ended up doing it anyway, and I started selling them just through Craigslist and Facebook pages in my local hometown right outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And from then that led on to other little projects that I've built, and more recently I've made quite a few cornhole sets. So I've found a little thing that has been popular, and kind of like how Jay Bates said it, start with something small, and I've sold enough of them where I could generate an income to reinvest into my shop. I started just as a hobby. My dad bought a camp that was an old church from the 1800s when I was a little kid, and we stripped it down to the studs and redid the whole thing. So I learned some things that way. I learned a lot through YouTube. I bought a house 7 years ago and didn't want to pay someone else to do the things that I could possibly do. So I learned a lot from YouTube, from all sorts of videos and how-tos, and I found Steve Marin, Woodworkers for Mere Mortals, if I could talk, and that's where my love for woodworking first came about. I didn't take woodworking or a woodshop class in high school, and I built one project and it kind of snowballed from there. So I've built quite a few things and redid my entire house aside from the kitchen. That'll be a pretty crazy build. But a lot of things, and I started building little things to generate an income, and I have slowly reinvested it into my shop. So I started selling things in 2015 and slowly have upgraded my tools to where I'm at today. So I'll give you a walk around my shop here in a minute. I do share my shop with my 3 little kids, and they have quite a bit of toys and bikes and all sorts of vehicles, I call them. So my space is limited. I am in a 2-car garage, but my house was built in the 1960s, so neither one of my car or my wife's car will fit in our garage, which works for me. I like it that way. So more space for me, and I'll give you a walk around here in a minute. Before I do get started with the tour, we recently had a birthday party for my daughter, and although that can be a pain in the butt, sometimes it forces me to clean my shop, and I kind of look forward to it, because once my shop is all clean and then people come in here into my garage, and if it's raining or just to get a pop or a beer or some food, I take pride in my shop. So I like people to look around and think like, wow, this is an awesome space. So I'll talk more about that. I wrote some things down because I knew I wouldn't be able to remember everything. So kind of like I've heard other YouTubers say it, that I'm a firm believer that everything in my shop has a home. This forces me to stay organized, and I know where everything is at. So I'm under the sink trying to redo a faucet, and I need a certain wrench or whatever the case may be. I can say to my wife like, hey, would you mind going downstairs real quick? I have a wrench. It's right to the right of my clock down in my workshop, and that way it makes it easier not only for me, because I hate spending time looking for things, but then if I have to give directions to something that I might need, it's easy to do so. So I know where everything for the most part is in my shop. Occasionally I lose things, it happens to the best of us, but also a clean shop is a safe shop. Jay Bates said it best, so I try to keep my shop clean. Doesn't really happen once a week, but I know I feel more motivated when my shop is clean. It gets me to come down here, and I just do not feel motivated at all. Earlier this summer my shop was a cluttered mess and I just didn't even want to be out here. And I don't like that feeling. I like to be out here. This shop resembles me. It says a lot about me and represents me, I guess you could say. So I try to utilize, you'll see, every square inch of my shop. The ceilings are kind of low, so I can't utilize the ceiling, which really would make a big difference, but the rest of it is pretty organized. So I said before, this shop represents me. It reflects me as a person. You'll see I have some personal effects in here. I want to be comfortable in my own shop. I want to come out here and spend time out here. So I feel that that helps it. I personalize it a little bit with some of my sports teams or tools that were handed down from me from great-grandfathers and some of my wife's relations. So it makes me want to spend time out in my shop. I do have cable TV and a lazy boy in my shop, which also makes it very comfortable. I know not all of you can have that, but it is a nice touch. Sometimes I can just come out here and have a pop and watch a ball game. So I like spending time out in here. But I'm constantly thinking of the future. I'm always thinking of a new way I can set up my shop or upgrades to my tools. And it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, I've lived here for 7 years and I got into woodworking shortly thereafter, and I'm slowly but surely gathering up enough money to get newer and better tools. And is that necessary? No, it's not. You can do it with basic tools, or hand tools rather even. But to me, it makes it easier and I feel safer with some of the newer tools. So, and this is kind of like my hobby. This is what I collect, you could say. Some people put a lot of money into their cars or on vacations, and I tend to save up a lot of my money for my shop and the tools I have in my shop. But it is a long process. Find something that maybe you could sell at a craft show or just make a couple bucks here and there, and you have to be willing to save. Sometimes it takes me months at a time to spend on some of the tools that I have. I'm pretty cheap. I don't spend money on many things, but I don't mind dropping a couple $100s on a certain tool if it makes my life easier and makes it safer for me to work in, so, or it makes it faster. So I will take you around the shop, and feel free to leave any comments or questions that you might have, and I'll try to respond to them as soon as possible. And thank you again for the support, and here's to 1000. Alright, so here is the outside. I have a two-car garage. My house was built in the 60s, so neither one of our cars can fit in it, which is awesome. And that's what it all started with, little picnic tables for kids. Slowly generated an income. And here's the shop. So I'm going to try to move slow. This is my second time recording, and the first time it was moving kind of fast and making me dizzy, so I am sorry I do not have any professional equipment. Let me close my garage door. Alright, so we'll start here in the back corner. This door here goes to my laundry room in the basement. And over here in this corner I have a couple clamp racks to hold all my clamps. Then I built a couple. I have my ear protection down here for my kids. I got that idea from DIY Tyler. And a couple Harbor Freight accessories to hold my paper towels and gloves. I used to have a full-size refrigerator here, but it was taking up too much space. I wasn't really using it, so I got a little fridge instead. Here is my pegboard. I know a lot of people don't like pegboards, but it allows me to have everything on the wall where I can easily see it. I have a lot of magnetic strips to hold tools as well. So down under here I have storage for my drinks and such. And under this one I have stencils for my cornhole boards, other junk, and my K3 I built a little organizer for that. So on this side I have a little bin for rags that I built. Moving over on this side, these are old hospital cabinets. They store paint and paintbrushes, different things. I have this drawer with all my drills and wax paper and saran wrap, flashlights that my kids steal and then kill the batteries. This one here, just other things that I don't want making a mess on my bench, zip ties and such, and my pegboard organizers. Over here I have a materials to build a washers game, so I'm going to build that here soon. Look for the video. Battery organizer. This is my very first video, Brian Gidney's Birdhouse Challenge. I made that a couple years ago, and that's what got me all started with this. I have my TV up here, and a bunch of stuff that hopefully someday will be out in a shed. Here I have a little pallet table and a lazy boy. So this is my shop. Trying to move slow here. So let's go back over to this side. Here I have a little accessory cabinet for screws and nails and just little things. Up here I have a little cabinet with the screws I use most often, and then I label it so that I don't have to search. I can easily see what I'm grabbing. So some of the stickers I've collected from some of the woodworkers. I also have one of these because I hate having a pile of random screws and nails and bolts and whatnot, so that allows me to keep everything organized. So here, just different things I found online. I thought that was pretty cool, just to add a little decor. Same with the magnets. So in this I have the tools that I use most often. Here are my power tools. I have a lot of my corded power tools. I use these to keep all the cords organized, and being organized allows me to notice things whenever they're missing. Like my sander here, I let someone borrow it and it's easily noticeable that I do not have it. So just some of my corded power tools and torches and extension cords, a little shop vac that I use, and then things at the bottom, some of the corded tools that I don't use as often. So have all my nailers here. So I'm going to try to move slow so you don't get motion sick. Above this, just some old stuff I thought was pretty cool. I have two of these corded retractable cords. Those work awesome. And up here on my bulkhead I have a lot of old tools from my great-grandfather and great-great-uncles. Some of the things I built, like the mallet. And up at the very top I have a tape measure. I worked on a farm one time, and a guy showed me this visual that the average man lives to be 74 or 76, and I put it up there just as a visual. And then I have a clothespin on the 32. I'm 32 years old, so it shows how far I have to go. I'm almost halfway, so it's a good visualization. Don't take a single day for granted. In this cabinet here I just have gloves and hats, and then some materials that, or liquids that I don't want my kids to get into, some things that are might be harmful to them. Down below, just another little toolbox. Here I have different wrenches and such, and I hate things when they're in a pile. I like everything to be organized so I can easily grab it and I don't have to waste any time. Same with my sockets, all pretty organized. And down below, just drills and hole saw. And then my router and Forstner bits. Here are more router supplies. And then down in this one, wood burning, glue gun. This is my Dust Right hose for my small power tools. And if you haven't seen David Picciuto's video on this, I would recommend checking that out. It is hilarious. Over on this shelf, just things for my pool and gas and wipes. These are all the things for my garden. And up here I have my Foreman. I bought this with my own money. Craig has sent me some things in the past. That is worth every penny. Over on this side, just some paints and stains. And my pipe clamp rack there. And then for these racks here, I got these off of Griot's Garage, and they utilize wall space to get some things off the floor. Same with the wheelbarrow little rack there. I think I just got that at a local home improvement store. So hopefully this stuff will be out in a shed someday, and I'll have more space. Alright, so moving back over into the middle of my shop, I have my planer. Just recently got this. I buy most of my tools used just to save a little bit of money. This, I upgraded I had an older DeWalt and I upgraded this to this model. It's been really a great tool for me. Same with the Porter cable drill press. I also bought that used, and then I did buy this bandsaw new. Works out pretty well. The fence isn't the greatest. The dust collection is horrible, and I actually have most of my tools on casters. This caster for my drill press or my bandsaw, just I don't know if it's something I did or if it just stinks. It's really hard to move around, so hopefully I can figure that out. This is my old miter saw stand, and I have wheels there, so you just tip it and move it around easily. And these are things to keep my son busy when he's out in the garage with me. Some hammers and nails and screws to keep him active out here. I have a lot of these hanging around just to have my tape measures handy, and these little PVC pen pencil holders just so they're not in my work area and I always know where they're at. Moving down here, still in the middle of my shop, I have a Grizzly 6-inch joiner. Also bought this used off Craigslist. Seems to work pretty well. My dust collection here, I have the expandable hoses from Rockler, and they work out a lot better than my old setup. They're not in the way and I can easily move them. And just different accessories I have. That's a bench sweep accessory nozzle there. That thing is awesome. So then my dust hose goes up and over this ceiling rack over here to my dust collection unit. It's just a Harbor Freight. I just modified it so I just have to empty the trash can, and I think I've had to empty out the bag maybe once. Over in this side, I had a family friend gave me a bunch of scraps, a bunch of maple and cherry, and then up there on that rack is all black walnut. So a lot of the wood is repurposed and was just given to me, so very lucky for that. Let's focus here, please. In the middle I have my table saw, and I have my sled here that I built, and I'll leave a link in the video or in the description. So it's just a Porter cable table saw, and then I built this just a couple months ago. I should have made a video for it. Jay Bates did this a couple years ago, and then I have a router lift. Well, I've also bought that off Craigslist, and I have my Porter cable 690 hooked up to it, and then I installed a safety switch there. Over here, this is a bench that used to be in the back part of my garage by my pegboard, and it's on the casters from Rockler, and I always have them down. You can take them off. They work awesome. So I have a quiet air compressor. I use that most often. Rigid sander, another toolbox. And I also utilize space like this. I have a chain with a drawer that drops down, and I have all my manuals in that. Before I move forward, this is my camera setup. This is what I put my camera on. I don't have a tripod. I don't have a fancy camera. This is my selfie stick. I just put my clamp in it to move around, and then I might prop it up on a bucket if I need to raise it up. Maybe one day I'll get a tripod. This is a vise I just recently redid, and it was a big rust bucket. And if I would have knew it was going to turn out half as nice as it did, I should have made a video. So I was pretty excited about that. I was really ecstatic about this. I was one of the lucky winners on Andrew Klein's Miterfold dado set. He had a giveaway a couple weeks ago, and I was one of the lucky winners, so look for a video for that. I have a larger air compressor here, and then up here I just have a couple more shelves and another little pegboard. So up on top I have my ladder. So the ladder and this wood rack here just more spare chunks of wood, and then some of my table saw accessories, my homemade miter or homemade micro jigs, feather boards, push sticks, and then here I have a mask which I plan on using more as I continue to make videos. So in the back I have a grinder and my larger shop vac. Don't really use the grinder that often. It does come in handy once in a while. And then a floor sweep there. Then I have a larger expandable hose, but haven't had a need to open it yet. So that is about it. Yeah. So this is my shop. So I just want to thank everyone for all the support. Without you, it would not be possible. And you asked for a shop tour, so I figured I'd give you one. So here is to 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate all the support. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe my videos, and I'll continue to make content. Thanks everybody. Take care.